Hey guys. Oh, voice just cracked. Maybe they'll drop pretty soon. Oh, there we go. Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. And, okay, this week's podcast, episode 72. Wow. So, toxicity and fair play is going to be my theme for today. Somebody last night commented on something, and I didn't realize that this was a thing. Shoot, who was it? I can't remember. Anyway, Sayin mentioned something yesterday. He's like, hey, what do you feel about such and such? But it was the wrong forum to ask the question. I'm not mad about it. It is what it is. What do you call it? I was doing my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. review. And it's like, that's an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. review. So I only want to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in that regard. Anyway, yeah. So we're going to get to some toxicity conversations in a moment. First off, let's discuss a little bit of, hey, what's going on, P.A. Stewart? How would it be? Hey, man. Hey, my man. What'd it look like? From Barry Gordy's Last Dragon. Okay, so I want to talk about two things in regards to toxicity and fair play. But I'm going to wait a little while because I actually do want other people's opinions on this stuff too. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about some comic books that I just got. First off, a good haul. I got a whole bunch of new comics this week, guys, so I can't tell you why I got this, but I got it. There's like nothing special about this, nothing interesting happened in here, nothing, but it is what it is, I guess. We're getting Fantastic Four variants in August. I actually thought that was happening yes, that's right, but we're getting True Believers this month for Fantastic Four. So that's pretty cool. The Fantastic Four True Believers stuff is $1 for a comic book with an important Fantastic Four or Fantastic Four related storyline in it. So that's really good if you don't have a huge, and most people don't have a huge Fantastic Four collection. I got Superior Spider-Man issue number 3. Yeah, loved me some Superior Spider-Man. Got a whole bunch of what ifs. What if Vision had destroyed the Avengers? I got what if Steve Rogers had refused to give up being Captain America? That would have been something, especially like all the political conflicts he was going to get into. That was an awesome one. Here's an important one. What if Daredevil had killed the Kingpin? This is one of those things like, why doesn't Batman use guns? Why doesn't Batman just kill the Joker? Well, they actually answered it here. What if the Avengers lost the Evolutionary War? That was a pretty interesting storyline. That reminds me, I should probably get into there. Hey, Justice Books, what's up, dude? I'm glad you're here. Hope Comic Boom shows up too. Gonna have a cool conversation in a moment. Scott Snyder will be introduced. Still Force in his Justice League. Whatever, dude. You know what? Scott Snyder needs to grow up and just recognize that if you need to keep on explaining your movie, it probably wasn't that good. Anyway, what if the X-Men died on their first mission? That would have been an interesting one, because only James Proudstar died. John Proudstar, and you can check out Thunderbird Explained in a minute. What if they'd all died on their first mission? That would have been an interesting one. Because, yeah, that was fun on the island of Krakoa. What if the Fantastic Four all had the same powers? This one wasn't the best, but it was surprisingly interesting if they didn't have the diversity. No, Scott, not Zach. Hold on. So Scott Snyder will introduce the Still Force. I don't know what that means, the Still Force in his Justice League. Sorry. Hey, Manuel, what's going on, dude? Alright, so I got a crappy version of Wolverine issue 1 of volume 2. The binding is a little bit messed up, but honestly, I don't really even care. I have it. I feel better with it. Yeah, Scott is the comic writer. I know. This one was a point of contention. This is not his first appearance, but Firestorm issue number 1 from the 80s. I think there's actually 84 or 86, somewhere between there. Somebody actually contacted me because I won this in an online auction, and the dude, some other dude actually contacted me. He's like, dude, I will give you $10 for that right now. I was like, sorry, bud. So I thought I had the first fight between Sabretooth and Spider-Man. I guess I didn't win that, or I won it in a different auction that hasn't gotten here yet. But the second fight between Sabretooth and Spider-Man, it was pretty interesting. I liked it. We got some Lady Bullseye in Daredevil. I think that's actually her first appearance. I can't remember. This, my wife looked at this and she was like, this is such a beautiful comic. This is the one, issue number 700, where Doc Ock actually becomes Peter Parker. This is the one. It's a heavy book, jeez. Got a whole bunch of free backings. Here we go. Exterminators, issue number 1. Haha, yes. Yes. So, and it actually starts off with the Inferno storyline. Can't wait to get to Inferno. Also, I believe this is actually his first, this should be his first appearance, and it's the foil edition of Spider-Man 2099. So, very happy with this one. Very happy with that win. Also part of the Torment storyline, part 2 of 6, I believe. This was such a great way to start off a new Spider-Man comic. Such a, like, beautiful, unbelievable art in here, and this was an incredible storyline. Love that 2099. You have to. You got to. I also got 2 of the 4. I had all 4 of them, and I remember the complaint that I had afterwards, but I got 2 of the 4 of the original covers for X-Men number 1. One of the main driving forces for the comic industry to actually be crushed and almost be ruined. Marvel went bankrupt. Generation X, issue number 1. There's a couple of first appearances in this one, and it's the foil cover. Love it. The Uncanny X-Men, issue number 125, the dramatic return of Phoenix. Oh yes, that's a good one right there. And the final one, this is a first appearance in here, but I can't remember which one. I remember I look at this, but part of the Days of Future Present, part 4 of 4, X-Men Annual 1999, Annual number 14. This is where we find out that, what do you call it, Nate Richards? Oh, for crying out loud. Little boy Richard, I think, is Nate. Anyway, and Rachel Summers, at the time, Rachel Summers, is, they're actually a couple in the future. We're getting Legion of Doom and Justice League comics. Oh, yes, that's right. I actually saw a big conversation about that version of the, that. Also, I got a, oh, here it is. I got a 1990 Mojo doll. This is actually from Toy Biz, so it actually came with Eva Arad going, so this is cool. It actually, like, it fires the little thing forward. Oh, you gotta push it in. Bah! My kids love it when I snap their fingers. So this is cool. This was like only $7. I won this in an auction. It came in the box and everything. It still had the T-shirt sale for it and everything. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? And it was kept in the box, so meticulous. And I'm like, I'm irreverent. I don't care about that collector stuff. This is mine. I'm going to display it. I'm going to play with it. Yeah, Mojo. And it actually came with a Warpath card. I totally dig that. So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Yes. Anyway. So that's that auction. My wife just brought home another auction, and I'm very upset because there was no cardboard in the bin. I would have rather just go to the post office and picked it up, but they actually took the package. I'm not going to show the guy's address on it, or mine apparently. The mail person, the letter carrier, took the thing and actually folded it and put it in. So my comic books were folded. Even more, this knucklehead. There's a bunch of old comics in here, and one of them, he didn't even put a cover on it. There's no cover on it. So all these have a little bend right now, and I have to now try and flatten them out. So not very happy with that. Anyways, here's X-Force issue number 16. Yes, has Spider-Man showing up. It's one of the covers that does that. It's a gorgeous one. Check this out. I think this is a first appearance of somebody. I think it's the first appearance of Blastar. Horrible cover. But whatever. Issue number 63 of the Fantastic Four. Just talking about this, right? Look at that. You see the cover? Like, it's somebody actually cut out the cover for whatever reason. Everything's just, it's a wash in destruction. But it's an awesome one. Here's one. Let's see if you guys remember this. Shogun Warrior, issue number 1. Shogun Warriors. Also, look at this right here. You see how it says still only 35 cents? That became the scariest thing in the world for me to see. Why? Because, what do you call it? Whenever you saw still 35 cents, you knew next week it was going to go up in price. Yeah, that was it. Go ahead. Investigate. Check that out. Go and look at, I bet you, Shogun Warriors. The price is 40 cents. I didn't actually investigate that. Anyway, okay, I can't remember who... Oh, no, I think this is actually the Night Flyer first appearance. This might be somebody else's first appearance also. But issue number 213 of Captain America and the Falcon. So this is actually the original Captain America. Well, not the original, but this is the Silver Age. This is actually in the Bronze Age, though. Captain America title, where they actually added Falcon to the title. Look at this. Issue number 333 of The Mighty Thor. This is where Dracula goes up against Thor and Sif becomes a vampire. Totally awesome. Also, I could be wrong. Is this the first appearance of Malekith? I can't remember. Issue number 346 of The Mighty Thor. No, this is not the first appearance of Malekith. Nope, I don't think it is. But this is an earlier comic. I love my Thor comics. Here's issue number 406 of Thor. There's also, I can't remember if this is the first. I think this is the first appearance of Eric Masterson. I think that's what this is. But it might be the first appearance of him as Thor, or the issue where he... I don't think this is the issue where he becomes... I think this is the first issue of... whatever. Anyway, I can't remember just by looking at them. I literally just got these in the mail right now. So, put these over here. Okay, so, let's see what's in the comments really quick before I get started. Bill, we might get in 2 Amazing Spider-Man comics a month. 2 Amazing Spider-Man? That's pretty cool. That's not bad. Especially since they look good. Okay, so, you know what? This is kind of going to bring me to a little bit about... Hey, what's going on, Joe Fisher? How's everyone? I hate it when that happens. Whenever I mail comics, I use a box. Thank you. Yes, you use a box. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so, let's get started. First off, Hannah Simone. It was just really quick with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we don't know if that's going to be canceled or not. In the next couple days, we should have our answer. The next episode, which is going to come out on Friday at 9 p.m., Eastern Standard Time, it's looking as though that is going to be set in case it doesn't get renewed. So that's actually good, because I don't really want to leave on a cliffhanger. Whether Agent Coulson lives or dies, I want it to be one of those situations where the team just goes on instead of just hangs in limbo. I hate it when forget about a season. I hate when a series ends on a cliffhanger. That's the worst for me. Atlantis versus Wakanda versus Adalin. I would say Wakanda. Those people work together more than anybody else. How many times has Namor been overthrown? You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to work together. Adalin, they could work together, but the thing is, once they lose Black Bolt, and I'm sure that Black Panther has a contingency plan for, and it's written down. It's not even just in his head. It's written down, so anybody... Remember when also we saw that he had a Galactus contingency plan in Christopher Priest's run? And they're just like, are you kidding me? You have a contingency plan for Galactus? How come you didn't give this to the Fantastic Four? We didn't know about it at the time, but now we're good. and the contingency plan actually worked. Dick Fillmore, there you are. Hey, dude. Hey, man, I don't know if you saw last week's episode, but I actually kept this out just for you, bud. You're not going to believe what I got. First edition. I got this last week, dude. Death of Captain Marvel. Marvel graphic novel, issue number 1. This is mint condition. Mint condition, dude. Look at that. I'm about to get Jim Starlin to sign this in another month and a half. So, oh yeah. What do you think? Right on the front cover, Jim Starlin's signature, just right next to his signature, because, oh yes, gorgeous, isn't it? So anyway, and I'm gonna get his thoughts on there, and then I'm gonna actually do a spotlight on story 4, Death of Captain Marvel. So anyway, I know, right? The guy was almost crying when he was turning it over to me when I went to pick it up. Okay, so we don't know if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be canceled or not. We're going to find out in the next couple of days. Hannah Simone, she was up for Greatest American Hero. Apparently she's one of the most sought-after stars in Hollywood. Okay, I don't know who she is, so but I don't really watch TV, so that's not a big hit or miss for me. But the trick is, she is apparently really ticked off that she didn't get the role for Greatest American Hero. Not just she didn't get the role, they decided to not pick up the series, period. Now, that's something interesting. I remember I talked about this when I first heard about it, that I don't see the point of putting a girl in the role unless the torch is going to be passed. If the torch is not going to be passed, we just got a Ghostbusters situation, in which case, who cares? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? If it's just somebody else, if they're just going to have a full reboot, and it's not going to be like a continuation, like he's passing on the pajamas. I forget what the guy's name is even. Like, I loved the show when I was a kid, but that was a long time ago, you know? Oh, and the solicit for the darn comic was, hey, Matt, did you hear Jim Zub talked about the new champion on CBC News. No, I did not, but I did talk to him directly about it in Free Comic Book Day. He gave me a lot of inside information, which is kind of cool. Dude's awesome. Took a picture with me. Like, he took a picture with me. You know what I'm saying? And posted on his Twitter, which is freaking awesome. Dude did not have to do that. That was last Saturday. Anyway, so what do you got? They decided to not use the whole thing. The whole thing, they're like, we're not going to pick up this series. We're not interested. We just don't think it's the right time or whatever. It might be a superhero overload, because I've been talking about that for a little while right now. There are too many superhero shows on TV. I can't watch them all. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that and read my comic books. Like, there's just too much. Here's and the solicit for it was, here's a girl, 30 years old, who's used to drinking tequila and going to parties, and that's really it. Wow. And then all of a sudden she's given the super suit by aliens. Okay, so which means it's not going to be a continuation of the other one, unless all of a sudden he's going to show up, hey, I got a super suit too, but I didn't have the instructions. Do you have the instructions? It's like, it sounds like it's just going to be a reboot, and maybe they'll have like one appearance by the original guy. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? They weren't talking about having him continue a role there or anything, which I absolutely would. I would have pushed that. Marketer, business degree. Done business internationally, all right? 3 continents in 5 countries. I'm just saying. I kind of know what I'm doing with business, all right? And like, that's one of the things with marketing. You push that. Forget about going directly to them and saying, hey man, kind of hoping that you guys are going to, do this based on what we're going to say. No, you build a following first, and then you go to Disney or whomever and say, this is what we want to do. You don't come up and then try and just ask them, by yourself. If you've got the potential for a following, then you do that. That's how Deadpool was finally made. One of the ways that it was made. That's how a lot of things are made. You build up the following and show that there's a desire for this. But I don't have a desire for it. I don't think anybody has a desire for it. There was no huge desire for this or already pushed from anybody. So, William Cat Williams, Black Comic. Yes, I guess you guys are talking with each other. I don't know what that is. So, the way that I look at this is, it just wasn't picked up because there didn't seem to be a following for it. It's a very old TV show that, like, the DVDs are all collected in one big lump sum. You can just go and get the box set with the free Greatest American Hero cape. Like, it could have been a big deal, but it wasn't. The sales weren't great. None of that stuff was great. Now, I don't know what the exact reason was why they didn't pick it up. They just simply said it's not the right time for it. But I'm also looking at the sales. I looked them up, and they're not great for those DVD sales. There's no clamoring for the thing to go back into syndication or anything like that. There's nothing. There's no desire. Nothing. So what does Hannah Simone do? She decides to go on Twitter, and she says, looks like Disney doesn't want to put on a brown-skinned superhero female. The first ever brown female superhero. So she's going to bring up identity politics. Look, there's a time and place for that. And if she actually heard somebody say, what? A brown girl? We don't want that. And I'm not going to get into the idea of whether she does or doesn't look brown to me. I looked up her ethnicity, I looked up her nationality. She's British Canadian. You know what I'm saying? If she didn't tell me, if she didn't identify herself as something otherwise, then I wouldn't have known that she's brown at all. That's just me. That's not an insult. I'm not trying to play identity politics myself. It's one of those things that I myself wouldn't have noticed otherwise. Nobody knows I'm Native American unless I say I'm Native American. I'm such a mix. Nobody knows I'm Italian unless they really hear me talking when I'm angry, or if I say that I'm Italian. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's exactly what it is. Nobody's sitting here trying to shame anybody or anything like that. But unless she actually has some kind of an evidence, and she should push that evidence if she has it, then why is she bringing up that she's brown and that's why they don't want to take? They didn't say we don't want you for the part. They said we're not interested in the whole thing. I don't think this is necessarily a package deal that it's either her with the show or nobody. Like, oh well, if we had a white straight male, you know what I'm saying, then we'll do that. I just can't see Disney saying something like that, especially not Disney. Of all people, Disney, really? Look, everybody's got some kind of a racism thing stuck up in there somewhere. Racism is institutionalized. A lot of people don't even realize that we're being racist when we're being racist. It's just like that's what it is. But if you're going to go and bring up your ethnicity, okay, or the color of your skin, or what you identify as otherwise, this just sounds to me like a ridiculously immature girl. She says, make loud retweets. Make loud retweets. So you're going to try and shame Disney into putting this show on? This is blacklist material, and for very good reason. This is the kind of thing that gets somebody blacklisted. Because, look, if she had some kind of a proof, I would ask her to come on the show. I would, if she didn't want to, or I couldn't get a hold of her, I would do a video of my own. This is superhero related. That's why I'm talking about it in the first place. I would do a video on my own. Be like, whoa. So apparently Disney, some information leaked, a loose email. It turns out that they were talking about, oh, we don't want to have some brown-skinned superhero on, and blah, blah, blah. I would destroy that. I would do everything in my power to get it out there on my Facebook, on everything, that Disney actually went and pulled some racist nonsense like that. But without proof. Why exactly is she playing this game? I'll tell you why. Because she's just a dumb little girl. She's a dumb little girl, and it is what it is. Like, just that, and that's all that it is. They're dumb, and it's not even about being a dumb little girl. It's just she's a dumb person. You know what I'm saying? That was dumb to do, and it's threatening to your career. It's one of those things that's going to make other people say, "Yeah, we better be careful about working with her because that's the kind of game she wants to play." If there were proof, I would be all over this. If there were proof, I'm pretty sure that she would show the proof. But what do I know? But talking like that, that's just silly. You're trying to ruin somebody's reputation. You're trying to ruin a business's reputation. That's a bit much. That's just a bit much. So I'm not cool with that at all. I just think it's kind of silly. Let's get... Let's read some of this, and then I'm going to get into the last thing I really want to talk about. I knew you were Sicilian, made my True Romance joke immediately, and you still need to watch that. Exactly. Your joke is lost on me. I've never watched True Romance. I'm sorry. Yes, I am mostly Sicilian. I got some Napolitano in me, too. They're Paisan, you know? Excuse me. Manuel, I hate identity politics so much, and mostly for the fact that it's now used for framing and debasing people. Exactly. Look, there is no doubt in my mind that racism is a huge deal, okay? If you guys saw my, and I don't like getting into this, I don't like talking about it all the time, but like if you guys saw my my Black Panther spoiler review, I actually have my wife in the review. The main reason why is because she's black. And she talked to me about it, and she's never asked me what am I going to talk about in any of my videos before. I've done spoiler and non-spoiler reviews for different movies before. She's never asked me about that, but she asked me what am I going to, when we got back from seeing Black Panther, she says, what are you going to say about it? And I'm just talking about it. She's not grilling me, but she's asking me more and more questions, and I finally realized, because I know my wife, I was like, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to actually be on the video? She's like, you're okay with me being on a video? I'm like, yeah, you're my wife. I don't care. So she's like, well, let me think about it. So she thought about it while I was doing the non-spoiler review, which was only like 10 minutes long, and she's like, okay, yeah, you know what? I might be a little bit nervous, but I'm okay with it, whatever. So she jumped on, and we had like an hour something, whatever, discussion about Black Panther. And I didn't even get to talk about all the things I wanted to because I wanted her to talk more about what it means to her. You know what I'm saying? She's not even like African-Canadian or anything like that. She's actually from Africa, like born in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Speaks 3 languages fluently. She actually teaches English as a foreign language. So she's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Ridiculously amazing. But of course I'm going to talk like that about my wife. But like, so I understand. Like we've got kids together. They're mixed kids. You know what I'm saying? They're still human. But like the idea is, I understand that they're going to be going through things when they get older. You know what I'm saying? I understand that even right now they might be getting things. I still get people who walk up and want to touch their hair and things like that. I'm like, dude, what are you touching my kid for? Oh, I just want to play with the hair. Okay, cool. There's your kid. Let me go over and play with their hair. And all of a sudden, it's like, yeah. Keep your hands off of my kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? People just don't get stuff like that. They think that that's okay. And there's an institutionalized reason for that. It is what it is. But like, and lots of people like, I'm not going to name any names, but somebody who's in the chat right now himself has is in a mixed marriage. When they have kids, they're gonna have to deal with that stuff also. It is what it is, man. And it is what it is. So when you have this kind of thing, like it's messed up. But like for Hannah Simone to come out and try and shame, and I'm all about punching up. You know what I'm saying? I bash on Hillary Clinton. I bash on Donald Trump. I bash on George Bush. I'll bash on Obama. He deserved it. His second term especially. Deserve it, man. He won a Nobel Peace Prize in his first term. Didn't try and go in for that second one, did you? So, didn't try going for that second, because you're allowed to get 2 Nobel Peace Prizes, but he didn't even try to get it a second time, did he? Put us in more wars at one time than we've ever been in before. I'm critical of everyone and everything who's in power. You know what I'm saying? Everyone. So punching up is not a big deal for me. But when you're punching up with no facts, you're just trying to, start trouble, and you've already got a huge platform. Like, if she's supposed to be one of the most influential people, or most sought after, I should say, in Hollywood right now, that's kind of ridiculous. You're going to try and shame somebody like that. I didn't like when Fox was doing it to people. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to see anybody doing stuff like that. You don't shame somebody with identity politics or anything to that effect unless you've got proof, in which case you destroy that person. And I will be right there with you, yelling and screaming, "You racist SOBs!" But that doesn't seem what this is at all, from the information that I see available. So it's kind of, you know what I'm saying? Hello, everybody. Okay, so here's an interesting thing, and I was kind of hoping that Sade would be here for this, but there's something going on with Antarctic Press, isn't there? I don't know. First off, former military, 6 years former military, I fear nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's just the idea of talking about something when I don't have full knowledge about it. And I'm stating right from the beginning, so anybody who wants to get on and start, you don't know what you're talking about. I actually just said that. I don't completely know everything in this situation. Okay? I'm simply going to talk about the stuff that I know, and I'm going to ask opinions. But now that I'm actually talking about him, here's his name, the Diversity in Comics dude. Okay? I've watched maybe 5 of his videos all the way through. Maybe 5 of his videos all the way through. I tried watching a couple extra of his videos just when the title looks interesting, but for the most part, like, it is what it is. He is who he is. He's a guy who gets on and he's trying to entertain. But sometimes entertainment doesn't come off the right way. And if he's trying to be funny about this and that and the other thing, that's cool, but when he attacks trans people and things like that, it just comes off as real dickish. You know what I'm saying? That's unacceptable. And unfortunately, since they identify with the entire LGBTQ community, when you attack one, you're attacking everybody. You know what I'm saying? In that regard. If you were to mention somebody's name and just attack that person for what they say, what that person says or does or whatever, that's one thing. But I've seen some of his videos, I've heard some of the things that he said, and literally just like I get on here, you see my eyes, you see my face, you see my eyes, you see my expressions, you're not just hearing me talk. So, you can really judge what somebody is saying based on visual expressions, visual cues. It's something that we learned in the Army. It's something I think that cops should learn, you know what I'm saying, to help better identify a situation and things like that. But for the most part, you're saying he never attacked trans people. Sorry, I'm not going to go back and look for something and show you proof. If you didn't see it, brother, I don't know what to tell you. But I've seen his Twitter rants about Mags Visaggio, and he's had very personal things for her also, but he's also done a lot of, calling her a guy in a wig. Sorry, I don't care what your opinion is. You can hate me, you can unsubscribe, you can go to the moon for all I care, brother. Like, if you're going to get pissed off and start screaming, you know what I'm saying, whatever. Actually, you didn't, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But saying he never attacked her, sorry, I'm what it is I'm right now, I'm projecting because I'm expecting the clap back. You know what I'm saying? People who love this YouTube personality. And I understand it. He's a huge cult of personality. Everybody on YouTube has the potential of being a cult of personality. I remember with Rob Explains the one time, I went on, yes, that is one person. I'm not going to keep going. I'm not going to go by and start thumbing through all of the things that he said and whatnot. If he's attacked one person and started talking about man in a wig instead of just respecting this is what the guy wants to be called, guess what? If you call one person, one individual person an N-word, guess what? That is it. You're done. You're done. So that's the thing. If you attacked one person, so I don't need to go and start naming other examples. That's a big deal there. That's what's important about this to understand. Look, he's a cult of personality. He's huge. He's huge. And everybody loves his stuff. Well, for the most part, everybody loves his stuff to sit down and blah, 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 blah. I'm almost 43 years old at this point. I'm so beyond the whole Twitter troll attacks and stuff like that. And let's just be honest with ourselves for a second. As funny as he is, and as cool as he is, and as much as everybody loves that stuff, if you say that he's not a Twitter troll, you are so biased, it's beyond ridiculous. Sorry, is what it is, okay? He is absolutely a Twitter troll. That's part of his personality. Like, he thrives on that stuff. It's the reason why he became so popular. You know what I'm saying? I saw the whole thing with the Mark. I watched, I think, all of the Mark Waid thing where he showed his Facebook conversation with Mark Waid. He blocked out certain parts which were awesome, or deleted it and whatever. He was very respectful in that regard. And yes, Mark Waid flew off the freaking handle, especially in that second communication. Like, dude, calm down. You know what I'm saying? I could use some of that calm down myself right now. Because like I said, I'm expecting a huge clapback because I'm the little guy and I'm not trying to punch. I'm simply giving my opinion. Alright? I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not calling anybody any names in this regard. I'm simply pointing out he's the one always calling people names. He's got names for everybody. And all of those guys, every single one of them that I have seen has sat there. They've got names for everybody. Oh, you're an SJW. I'm not an SJW. You can go F yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care about names for the most part. I was in the military, just like him. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that he feels the exact same way that I feel. You could call me whatever names you want. I went through basic training. Okay? If you have never been in the military, whoever is out there, if you've never been in the military, you don't know what it feels like to have 4, 5, 6 drill sergeants all surrounding you, calling you the F word, calling you, a fag, calling you every name in the book, questioning your sexual identity and stuff like that, just to see if they can irk you, just to see if you're strong enough of will to actually be able to pass basic training. And I'm talking, this starts in the first week, this starts on the first day, everything they possibly can, just attacking you. I think he's eyeballing you. I think he likes you, Sarge. I think he's gay. You gay, boy? Do you like me, boy? Like, if you've never experienced that with 4 or more drill sergeants standing around you, all of them attacking you, and you have to stare. You have to maintain military discipline, your military bearing. Stay at a full attention. Eyes straight forward. Don't you dare look at somebody in the eyes. You keep straight forward, and you answer, yes, Sergeant. No, Sergeant. And if you don't know, you have to remember how to properly answer the question. Private does not remember, Sergeant. Like, dude, if you can handle stuff like that, you can handle somebody calling you a jerk or gay or an a-hole or whatever, or an SJW, whatever people want to call you. So, like, none of that stuff is ever going to bother me. Have fun with that. You know what I'm saying? But, so like, when he does it, I fully understand that, Blackhawks is awesome. I'll get to that. I fully understand that he could say the kind of things that he says. He can attack people because he's got, in my opinion, I expect he's got a very thick skin. He's got to. If Zach from Diversity of Comics, Richard, his name is Richard, if he does not have a very thick skin, I don't know what the hell he was in the military for. I remember I saw his interview with Ethan Van Sciver, Sciver, however you pronounce his name. I saw them both having their joint. I think I watched the whole thing and listened to the whole thing while I was working. He said that he was in the Marines and then he was in the Army afterwards. Like, he re-enlisted later after a small, and I feel bad for that dude. I think he said it was because of the money situation. And like, that's one of those things I could sympathize with this dude. That sucks. You do not know when you've been in the military. And if you've never been in the military, let me tell you the worst thing about having been in the military, being former military, is that this is what you know. Plus, I think he was infantry. I was infantry also. You know what I'm saying? I was 11 Bravo. He started as a Marine, and they're all infantry. You know what I'm saying? They're all infantry. And even if you're an infantry cook, you're an infantry cook. You know what I'm saying? You're not just a cook. So, like, this cat, he was in He was in the military, and he left after like 4 years, I think. He opted out. I was in for 6 years straight, and thank God I never went back. He did, and I know why he did. Like, without actually knowing him personally, hearing some of the things that he said, and knowing my own feelings on it. When you get out in the military, you've got all this discipline. Not just your own discipline, but the discipline of everybody around you and all that stuff. And, like, people could sit there... I'm going to say something that some people aren't going to understand. I know that there are people out there who don't understand people using the N-word. And people saying things like retard and things like that, okay? I slipped and said retard one day in a Facebook group that I'm part. Lewis from the Geek Fortress. I was in the Geek Fortress Facebook group, and I was talking about Zack Snyder at one point, and I said something such about this retard. 2 people jumped on there. Why do you have to insult mentally handicapped people? And I'm looking at this like, oh, crap, millennials. And I'm sorry if you're a millennial, okay? But as somebody who's 42, almost 43 years old, this is the first thing that goes in my mind. And I love millennials. I get it. But there's also some dumb things about millennials, too. And just, there's some dumb things about us. There are things that we're not going to understand about each other. I think I do, because I have kids who are millennials. You know what I'm saying? But the idea is, I said that, and for me, I'm not insulting mentally handicapped people. I'm insulting Zack Snyder. I think that he's a mental invalid, okay? Which, in my day and in the Army, that translates to a retard. A person who is retarded. Mentally retarded. Like, just, it is, I did not attack mentally handicapped people. That was never my intent to attack mentally handicapped people. I simply used a word. That's it. And I'm usually careful, and I remember some people might be insulted at using this word. I should just call him an idiot or something like that instead. But it was late. I was exhausted. It was on a Wednesday night, so I'm doing all these reviews and pushing things on. And Sean, for instance, Sean accidentally used he called me my N-word in a private Twitter message one time. Like, dude, please don't use because I know, like, let me tell you something. I watched Roots for the first time. Go figure. The communities I grew up in, and I didn't watch Roots until I was living in Saudi Arabia, which was, at this time, I think it was 2012 or 2013, because my wife wanted to watch it. And we went back to the States for the summer, and we came back, but while we were there, we would check out video stores because it's hard to find older DVDs there. So we're like, let's see what we want to get. And we're just buying all these DVDs. That's what we bring over with us when we go back. You know what I'm saying? We just bring DVDs so we can watch. And what do you call it? She wanted to watch Roots. She'd never watched Roots before, so I never did either. So I'm like, okay, let's watch Roots. They dropped the N-bomb, and that's so many times that I would have to be careful how I talked in school. And mind you, I'm amongst mostly all Arabs, and nobody cares if you use that word over there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody does, but if I did, nobody would care. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to see what's on TV, and they're going to be like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I almost used that word a couple of times. I'm like, dude, bro. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's like, do you know how hard it is? I grew up listening to NWA, and I went to Asbury Park High School for my freshman year when NWA was a big thing. You know what I'm saying? I was one of 6 white kids. What, in my grade? No, in the entire school. It was mostly blacks, Haitians, if you don't know the difference. Sorry, there is actually a difference. They acknowledge it. And mostly Puerto Rican people. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know what I'm saying? I was one of 6 white kids in all 4 grades. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you call it? I was in I remember my freshman initiation, because I was in the weight room. They were like, if you do freshman initiation here, nobody else can touch you. I'm like, done. What is it? You know, you guys gonna beat me up? Because some of you guys are big. Like, oh, no. You're also in the weightlifting team. You know what I'm saying? So no, you have to sing the Brady Bunch theme song. And I remember yelling loudly, laughingly, like, it's because I'm white! I don't know the Brady Bunch theme song! Like, you better. Like, damn it! The youngest one in curls. Like, I didn't know the Brady Bunch theme. I didn't grow up watching the Brady Bunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. So, what do you, like, just, I had so much fun growing up in such a diverse community in New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? It was so ridiculously diverse. It was great. You know what I'm saying? So like, back to my point again. In the military, you have to have a thick skin. You must. If you do not have a thick skin, you're not going to last. You're never... I'm a hood dude. You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm cool. But but like you have to have a thick skin in the military. So I think that I could walk up to DNC person to Diversity in Comics, the Richard dude, and I could be like, dude, you're an a-hole, you're this, you're that, and he would give it back to me just as strong, and he wouldn't get mad, he wouldn't get infuriated. I think I could type things to him and he'd just laugh about it, because I'm positive he's got a thick skin. The problem is being empathetic enough to understand that most people didn't go to the military. Only 7% of Americans actually join the military, and yes, most of them are conservatives. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the statistics, it's out there, it's known. Hard to dispute that. So I give him this excuse, I give him this yarn, this leeway, you know what I'm saying? That he is very thick-skinned, so when he insults someone, he's just telling a joke. But I don't think he's empathetic enough to understand that not everybody has that thick skin. And not everybody wants to develop those calluses. You know what I'm saying? Some people are just going to develop wounds and have permanent scars. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, he's very wrong to be talking the way that he's talking. It's unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? In the civilian world. And you know what? When you're in the military and you get into a... I don't see... There's a debate someplace? But I think that... I almost got into a fight with a guy in the Navy. I was out of the military already for about 3 years, and it took a while to adjust. And here's this guy, and like he had a road rage incident with me on the. He didn't actually hit my car, but he like to avoid hitting him. Mind you, he had a little sports car. I was in a 1978 Satellite Sebring. What do you call it? It was a V8. Powerful as heck vehicle. Like, the thing is made out of cast iron practically. If he would have bumped into me, especially it would have been his tail end hitting to me, the dude would have fishtailed all over the place. But he was coming close to me like that, and I'm like, whoa! And I backed off and I went up on the grassy medium for a little while, and then came back. But then I followed him. He pulled into a store. He got out. He started, The guy comes up to about my nipples when I stand up. And mind you, I'm a little overweight right now. I'm over the weight that my desired weight right now. And but then, like, I was still into squats and all that stuff. So I get out and I'm just huge. I'm looking down at this dude who comes up to my nipples, and he's still got his Navy PT clothes on, his physical training clothes on, his workout clothes. I'm like, look at this freaking guy. And he's like, what's the problem? I was like, calm down, boy. You're gonna calm down. I was like, now you just tried to run me off the road over there. Like, what the, like, in my tank, and it's green, it was green, so it looked like a tank without a turret, you know what I'm saying, it looked like an APC, armored personnel carrier. Anyway, so like, dude, you know what, but he's like yelling, he's like, oh, it's like, listen, man, you're a seaman. You know what I'm saying? You're a squid. Like, if you're a seaman first class. It's funny, right? But in the Army, we call Navy guys squids. If you're not a SEAL, if you're not a Navy SEAL, you're a squid. And they call us grunts, because, I was in the infantry. They call us grunts. Funny joke amongst tankers and grunts. They say, hey, you know why you're called a grunt? Why we call it grunt? That's the sound you make when we run you over in the tank. You're not in your tank right now, tough guy. And that's the jokes that we do with each other. We roast each other all the time. But this guy was having a hard time adjusting from the military life to here. I'm like, brother, you're not on shore leave right now. You're not in Egypt on a bar on shore, saying, and you're going to get into a fight and it's going to be okay. Your CO is going to bail you out. It's not going to happen. Here, the police are going to come and they're going to arrest you, and you're going to go to jail for a long time. You know why? Because nobody cares about us who served. The best you're going to find is, while you wearing those clothes, somebody saying, hey, thank you for your service. That's the best you're going to get. Not one single person cares about us. And even the right, where we come from, the conservative side, the only time that the right is going to say anything positive about us is when they're trying to make an argument against some kind of a social movement. Oh, we want to have Medicare for all. Well, how come we can't just do something for our vets by now? Oh, we want to have free education. Why can't we do something to take care of our vets? Nobody cares about the vets until some other conversation comes up where they want to say no. Hey, we should get free education for everybody. Well, why don't we take care of our vets first? Good question. How come you don't talk about the vets when there isn't some kind of an opposing argument? Nobody gives a rat's behind about me or us or Diversity in Comics or anybody else. People will say thank you for your service, and it's something that we're used to. We got thick skin. We're used to it. And like literally, thank you for your service to the country. For the most part, I've never met a single serviceman who's ever no, I did meet one. I did meet one, and I question if he's actually in the service. I'm just saying. Because everybody I know who's ever served that I've ever served with, we're all like, isn't it annoying when they say thank you for your service? It's like, dude, I'm not wearing anything. You just heard something. You know, like you could say I'm not going to be mad at you, but I simply look at it as, literally, I look at it as, you're welcome. I probably won't answer, or it's cool, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Because that's just what we, as service veterans, and I'm positive Diversity in Comics will tell you the exact same thing. Captain Cummings is also in the military. In fact, Joseph Brooks is in the military. Joseph, if you're still in there, tell me something. What do you think when somebody says thank you for your service? You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the times we're just like, yeah, that's cool. What do you call it? So, what do you call it? It's a thick-skinned kind of thing. We're just used to it. We're just used to it. The thing is to have empathy and to understand that that's not the way that we're supposed to be talking with each other. Outside, we have to understand we're no longer in the military. Most of these people didn't go through through basic training, through all the stuff that we went through in the military. You know what I'm saying? Most people haven't had a gun shot at them before. Like, you know what I'm saying? People who sit there like, oh, I love guns, bang, bang, bang. Yeah, I love my guns. You ever have somebody shoot at you before? No, because it's an entirely different situation. It's entirely different, and nobody talks tough. Nobody talks tough when you've had guns fired at you. So it's cute. It's really cute. I remember the guy who we always have the exact same statement all the time. Whenever we're about to go off to some kind of a conflict overseas, they always have this training class where they say, this is the AK-47. It is the weapon of choice of your enemy. It makes a very distinctive sound when fired at you. That's how the conversation is always started. And I remember talking to this guy who actually did those classes. I was never in one of his classes, but he was like, yeah, I used to do those classes. Like, oh, wow, cool, man. He's like, nah, dude, when I was actually overseas and they're firing at me and I'm hearing the thing firing at me, I remembered every time I made that speech and I thought, I was so effing stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something, and it does something. It does something to your psyche when people are trying to actively kill you. All right? It's a big deal. And yes, without getting too much into it, I can understand the idea of, black people having to deal with the police. Is it necessarily trying to kill you thing? That's a debate for another day. But, like, it's an empathy thing. It's an empathy thing where it's just, listen, look, it's bad all over. That's what we all say, right? And it's true. It is bad all over. But sometimes it's worse for other people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it is. And that's just all there is to it. So here's this thing with diversity in comics. And this guy, I don't mean any disrespect when I say this guy. Richard, why does it say it's your boy Zach if his name is Richard? Anybody who's actually seen a lot of his stuff, please, yes, don't enlist. Don't enlist. That's the best I could say to people. Don't enlist. But, what do you call it? Blah, 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 blah. What else was it? I was just on something. Anyway, whatever it is, yeah. Why does he call it? Everybody who's actually seen his enough of his videos, has he ever actually addressed that before? Why is I thought Dick is the nickname for Richard. I can understand why he doesn't want to be called Dick. No disrespect, Dick, to Dick Fillmore. But what do you call it? Like, anyway, so he does get insulting. He does sit there and call for, don't buy comics that, such and such and such, don't support these guys. And has he ever actually said those things? I can't recall if he's actually said those kinds of things specifically. But the conversation is absolutely in that regard. You can't sit here and be like I've insulted comics before in the sense of, this is a horrible comic, I can't stand it, blah, 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 blah. Look, he doesn't like Carol Danvers currently, the way that she's written and drawn right now. I don't like the way that she's written. I don't care about how she's drawn right now. But here's the way that I've insulted the Carol Danvers comic. I've said, I don't like the way she's drawn. Margaret Stoll is the writer. I'm not a fan of the way she writes this comic. Now, she's huge in the young adult world, so she's obviously an incredibly influential person, and I understand why Marvel would want to bring her on. She appeals to a young adult audience, specifically to female young adults. They want that to happen here with Captain Marvel, so I fully understand why they would want that. One day, I'm pretty sure she's going to be an amazing writer for comic books. But right now, or at least when I was reading the comic book, she is not. She simply is not. She is not writing the kind of comic book that I'm interested in reading. It does seem too campy. It does seem too silly. It's not that amazing writing that I'm looking for. It's not. That's not my cup of tea. But I'm not insulting Margaret Stohl when I say that. I have no interest in insulting Margaret Stohl. None. But Diversity in Comics does. He'll sit there and start, calling her different names and whatnot. It was a long time since I've seen that, but he's said it before. We know the kind of things, and calling him, an SJW writer and SJW Marvel is doing this. Like, when you're using these kinds of names on people, this is toxicity. And that's part of my title here, Toxicity and Fair Play. There's a reason why I have Mr. Terrific in there, because he's got the fair play down his arm. But actually, I think it's this one. But so I think that it can be established whether you like diversity in comics or not. Richard is a very toxic person. That entire, people like to call him anti-SJW side. Okay, whatever, I'm sure they're not going to be offended at hearing that. If you are an anti-SJW guy who is or person who's on YouTube, it doesn't matter if you've got a lot of black people on your side, or brown people on your side. It doesn't. That's literally like me saying, "How can I be racist? I'm married to a black woman." I don't like to say things like that. You want to know why? Let's say there's a guy who's a sexist and he gets married to a woman. Does that mean he's not sexist anymore? So, some of those arguments, when you critically think them, they just don't really work. They simply don't work. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter if you got that. And I'm not saying he is racist. I am saying he's got some issues. I'm saying he's got some issues. And if he does, and his biggest issue may be that he's not empathetic. And yes, that's an issue. You're getting clapped back. That says something. So as far as I'm concerned, he is a very toxic person. I think he knows that I'm not telling anybody anything new. He's an extremely toxic person. Attacking this person, attacking that person, attacking those people, and attacking them directly. Not attacking their work, or not even just saying, I don't like this particular work. Oh, I'm so bothered by this, I'm never going to read this again, and such and such and such. But he does talk about, hey, if you don't like somebody and what they're writing and this, that, and the other thing, show it with your dollars. Show it with your dollars by not paying for these comic books. So now, last night, after my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. review, and I see what Sayan says, I go and I look it up really quick. And I only read a couple of things. I read a couple of his tweets between last night and this morning and later on today. And I see that now, and I'm not going to use the word crying, but there's a word very close to that. Okay, now he's complaining a lot. Oh, people are, certain comic book companies or certain comic book, local comic book stores are boycotting my comic. Welcome to capitalism, brother. Welcome to capitalism. It's the exact same thing that you do. And since I show my face on camera, you can see me do this. So look, it's the exact same thing. There is zero difference. No, there's not even any wiggle room in that. It's the exact same thing. You don't like the way that somebody talks on Twitter, don't buy their books. He says about Dan Slott and Mark Waid and whomever. You don't like the way they talk on Twitter? They're jerks to the fans. These comic pros. Well, he's a comic pro now also. He writes comic books. He's a comic book pro. Congratulations. You literally walked right into that firefight. And he will 100% understand that conversation, that reference, that it's not even an analogy. It's so pointed, I couldn't direct it more. He will understand that because he's former military. So you walked right into that firefight. You see the ambush and you say, oh, what's over here? Not even what's over here. Ooh, let's see what happens now. You're a comic book pro now, bruh. Welcome. An amazing Twitter. Hey, you got a lot of fans. You've got a whole hell of a lot more than me. I'm a blip. You know what I'm saying? Try and find that one specific piece of sand, that one grain of sand on the beach. That's literally like me and my channel compared to you and your channel, brother. But, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to punch up, but this is absolutely me looking up. This is me looking up. You're huge. I'm nothing. But I'm telling you, this is exactly what's happening. And I think he's smart enough to understand that. That's exactly what this is. The dude is constantly attacking and being toxic. It's part of it's the bulk of his appeal that gets people to come over and listen to his direct opinions on what a comic book should be. Okay, well now he's making a comic book exactly what he wants to be. And he's always talking about, you're destroying local comic book stores. My local comic book store was put out of business because of such and such and such. Maybe. But long before that happened, my local comic book store when I was in Jersey went out of business. Long before anybody called Marvel SJW Marvel. Long before Kamala Khan became a freaking a thing. You know what I'm saying? Long before Thor became a woman. You know what I'm saying? So, sorry. Comic book stores have been going out all the time. You could argue, your comic book store owner could argue why they went out of business. But it's really kind of superfluous. We don't know. We don't exactly know. We'll never really know. Maybe it's just competition. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not going to try and speculate any more than just literally like top of the head thinking in that regard. Businesses go out of business all the time. It's the nature of business. It's capitalism. You know what I'm saying? Comixology might be one of the reasons. Amazon might be one of the reasons. You know what I'm saying? There's lots of reasons why you can go out of business. Digital, for crying out loud. The Marvel app, the DC app, all these different apps. But when push comes to shove, what you reap is what you sow. You made your bed, now you lie in it. If there are comic book stores who refuse to push to put your comic books up, that's called capitalism. That's what it's called. Welcome to capitalism. That's the society that we live in. And let's be realistically, you know what I'm saying? I don't love everything that Jordan Peterson says. A lot of what he says is really like, you think about it a little bit, it's like, dude, what are you talking about? But I absolutely do love a lot of what he says, because I'm a huge buff on psychology. I love psychology. I don't have nearly the pedigree he does in regards to psychology. I dropped out of psychology on my first round. I was just talking about recently. My first semester, I didn't drop out of it. I finished that semester, but and I got pretty good grades too. But I wasn't happy with it because I was very young, and I thought all this is labeling, and I was too stupid when I was, 19 years old to realize, duh, of course it's all labeling. And then after you get all the labels down, that's when you can start actually diagnosing, because now you have the labels. And I was too dumb to understand that when I was a kid. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I was a dumb little boy who just didn't get life. You know what I'm saying? So, I hear Jordan Peterson talking about, hey, socialism, no good, blah, 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 blah. No, it's got to be capitalism. That's the way it is. Meanwhile, he's Canadian. He's here, and this is, a lot of capitalism, but an awful lot of socialism also. So I look at it as this is just simply the capitalistic mindset. If somebody doesn't want to sell your product, you can't make them sell your product. You can't. You simply can't. I'm on a very funny side. Like, as much as I lean to the left on many, many topics, I like to call myself centrist, but I know that I lean very heavy to the left. You know what I'm saying? What do you call it? Do you remember that situation? This is totally relating to this. When you have that situation where somebody goes and says, "Hey, man, I run a bakery, and this gay couple wants to have a cake made for their wedding or something like that." And I said no because it goes against my Christian beliefs. I look at that and I say, that guy's an absolute idiot. 100% idiot. But he's not wrong. Is he right? No. But he's not wrong. He has the right to say, I don't want to serve you. And he also has the right to deal with the clapback in that community. And if that guy is in a community where there is almost no clapback, there's no boycotting, because I'm of the opinion I would never go to this guy's shop again. I have the right as a consumer to do that. I'm not beholden to the World Trade Organization. I can boycott anybody I damn well want to. That's my right as a consumer. So I don't agree. I think that he should make the cake for the gay couple, but he doesn't. And I think that he should be protected by the law. That's my opinion. And at the same time, my opinion on that is, if I walk in there with my wife and somebody says, we don't serve mixed ethnicity couples, they would probably say mixed race. Cute. We're mixed ethnicity. We're both of the human race, jackass. But if somebody wants to say that, I'd be like, oh, okay, F you, goodbye. And I would walk out. I would take my business elsewhere. You know why? I don't want them spitting in my cake, or worse. I don't want body fluids in my cake. Why am I going to force them to make a cake for me? You know what I'm saying? In fact, thank you for telling me you don't want to make my cake, as opposed to making it and spitting in it, or worse. You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool. I get it. I'm cool, man. I'm cool. So yes, I believe that. So likewise, I'm going to apply it over here also. Diversity in comics. If this guy, like, he says all the things he says and whatnot, he made his bed. Hey, dude, he's going to have a great format on YouTube, and he's already made plenty of money on his Kickstarter or whatever I think it's a Kickstarter or GoFundMe, whatever, his social media platform for raising money is, whatever that's called. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way it is, man. That's the way it is. And if somebody wants to say, I'm not going to carry his stuff, they have the right to say, I'm not going to carry his stuff. And if they want to advertise that they're not going to carry his stuff, I saw people, why do you have to say that? He's saying it so nobody comes in and asks for it because they don't want to be bothered. Or they're making a stand, and they have the right. It's called freedom of speech. It's protected under the First Amendment. The exact same thing that he runs off of. So when he sits there and talks about, slander and libel, I saw he put out a tweet, I think it was today or yesterday, whatever, because one of the people who I follow just showed up. What's up, Comic Boom? Goes and puts up this thing and says, I'm looking for people in Texas who want to, who can help me out with a lawsuit, slander and libel and blah, 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 blah. My recommendation, because I have to study that stuff, and you know what? Comic Boom is actually a lawyer. I did not study law per se, but I have studied business law because I have to get my business degree. When I got my business degree. Slander and libel, for, like, especially when you said the kinds of things you said, brother, this is one of the most toxic guys on the internet right now. And he wants to sue somebody for slander and libel. Really? Here's my first recommendation. Look it up. Look up what those terms mean, and then realize what a silly conversation that is. That's about as silly a topical conversation as imaginable. So look, when push comes to shove, like I said, you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. That is what it is. I get on and I talk, I do all my stuff, on YouTube, and I have an opinion. If I say I don't like, I just got finished saying I liked Immortal Men #1, I did Immortal Men #2, and I said I don't really like it. I don't like this issue. I think that this is ruining the entire New Age of Heroes. This should have been the greatest comic book in the entire line. It should have blown all of them away, and instead it's the campiest thing ever. I could have people getting up there and just attacking me and saying, you're so stupid, I don't like you. I talked about, what's his name? Truth is a defense to a slander claim. I don't actually know exactly what that means. I would love to talk. You could put it in here, and I'd absolutely love to talk to you afterwards about it, brother. What do you call it? But shoot, where was I just at now? I was like specifically looking for what Comic Boom was going to say about it. Anyway, like, I was not happy at all with Immortal Men. Just not happy at all. You know what I'm saying? And if I get people who get up and they start screaming at me, you're an idiot, I don't like you, whatever. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Stan Lee. I apparently lost a sub. I apparently lost a single subscriber, maybe more than one, but I lost one who actually stated, I'm unsubbing because you're all about toxic masculinity. Me? Really? Me? Okay. How exactly? Because when I made my video about Stan Lee, the first of 2 videos that I made about Stan Lee and what's happening to Stan Lee currently, one of the things that I said was there was the lawsuit against, or not a lawsuit, there was no lawsuit against him. There was the one woman who said that he did such and such and such. And yet there's another conversation about there where nobody in her, she was one of the nurses. They said that he came on to her and did whatever with her. Nobody in the building, nobody in her business is on her side. Nobody. Because they said that she didn't tell anybody this, she didn't talk about this, she's still not talking to them about it. She made her statement on Twitter, she's not pursuing a lawsuit, she's not pursuing damages, she's not talking to them and saying, I don't want to go over there anymore. She simply said, so they took her out of there, they reassigned her someplace else and everything, and she's not doing anything. So I didn't say she's a liar. You go back and look at the video. I did not say she was a liar. I said, but everything is pointing to the idea that this didn't actually happen. But hey, and if I get proof that says otherwise, I'm the first one on it. Oh, wow, I can't believe he's doing this. You know what I'm saying? You know, I feel bad for Stanley, all this bad stuff is happening, but at the same time, it doesn't give him the right to go and, you know, sexually harass some other woman. So I'm trying to be as middle of the fence as I possibly can and be as fair as I possibly can. And the problem is with being fair, if you feel very strongly about one side, and I'm trying to be fair about something, say, oh, you're right, I agree with you on this, but I disagree with you on that, they're not going to pay attention to what I agree with. They're going to talk about what I disagree with. That's the way that it works. So she goes and says, this one girl, she goes and says, I'm unsubbing you for toxic masculinity. I believe the women. Here's the thing about I believe the women. What if the woman's lying? What if the woman's lying? Look, when you have a case like Bill Cosby, I don't think all those women are lying. When you have a case like that against Bill Clinton, oh my God, Bill Cosby, Bill Clinton, I'm Professor Bill. Oh crap! I better be careful. There looks like to be a trend. Anyway, I wouldn't do that. I could actually control myself. Thank God. But Bill Clinton, yeah, I believe it. Why not? Look at all these women on there. At the same time, Donald Trump too. Oh, the people on the conservative side. Yeah, get rid of there's Bill Cosby, there's Bill Clinton, and Harvey Weinstein. Oh, those guys are all bad. But when you say, oh, well, it turns out that Donald Trump did it also. Oh, it turns out Bill O'Reilly did. Oh, another Bill! Another Bill. Crap, I'm in trouble. I gotta be careful. Anyway, when all these people go and do this stuff, like, dude, what the heck, man? What the heck? You gotta believe it. When all these people are coming forward, plus when there are payoffs and things like that, like, that's even worse. There are payoffs in this regard. Hush money is being paid, dude. Sorry. That's when you gotta believe the women. But that wasn't I believe the women. This is I believe the woman. And she said I believe the women. Well, most of the women are saying it didn't happen. Most of the women are saying it didn't happen. So, look, I said something and somebody unsubbed for me because they didn't like what I was saying. That's the nature of capitalism. Welcome. Welcome. So, I don't know what else to say about that. And that is my opinion on the whole, and honestly, Antarctic Press is a very small company. This could make or break them. Literally, make or break them. So if it makes them, good business decision. If it breaks them, bad business decision. But, like, just think about who you're getting in bed with. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Hey, man, like, if I'm a publisher out there, I wouldn't want to go anywhere near DNC. For the simple reason that I'm not that brave. Not in that regard. I am not interested in putting, like, this is my company, this is my foundation, my bread and butter. This is, like, this guy is so toxic, I wouldn't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole. It sounds like a South Park episode. That pole keeps getting 10 foot longer progressive as we continue, right? But, like, I wouldn't want to even mess with that. It is what it is, man. But Antarctic Press, they've made a decision to move forward with it. Cool. That could be one heck of a business decision. It could also break them. It could absolutely break them. And hey, if people say, oh, Mark Waid is using his pull to bully people, don't you ever talk about somebody bullying diversity in comics. All right, that guy bullies. So, you know, a bully is allowed to be bullied. Okay? That's just the way it works in the world. Wake up, dude. In fact, most people on the playground would call Mark Waid a hero if that's the case, because Mark Waid never started attacking DNC. DNC started attacking Mark Waid. This is a guy who's giving clapback. He just happens to be a bigger guy. He's more influential. And at the same time, but he's using his influence. Do you know how many times I've heard Richard from DNC talking about, oh, somebody just went and attacked my 40,000 YouTube subs and my 10,000 Twitter subs. Newsflash, most of them are the same people. But hey, I think he knows that. Trying to say that there's 50,000 people like that, right? Like, oh, they're all separate individuals. But, you know, like, oh, you know, you're going to go attack, you know, oh, such and such and such. I've heard Ethan Van Sciver talking about, you know, I've got all these people on my side, and you're going to sit there and, you know, and attack me like that, and blah, 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 blah. And like, it's the same thing. I've heard Donald Trump say, hey, you know, Bernie Sanders is saying some stuff. You don't want me to send a whole bunch of my people over there after you, do you? To go and you know, give you a hard time at your rallies, do you? all of this stuff. Like, dude, when the bully starts talking about a bigger bully messing with them, come on, man. We reap what we sow. So, like, I have zero sympathy. And I don't know that he actually wants sympathy. He's a grown-ass man. Like, we all know what happens when you talk a certain way. Dude, I'm 6'5". You know what I'm saying? When I was in school, I was a target. I remember an in-law of mine saying, "Oh, you got it easier when you're tall." You don't. You got a target. You got a target when you're tall. I can't tell you how many people decide to try and make their name by attacking me. I can assure you, not too many of them were able to make a very good name for themselves. It usually backfired. Is what it is, dude. Like, I've always been into the martial arts, but I don't go around bragging to. I never went around bragging that to people when I was in my martial arts schools. You know what I'm saying? I never went around bragging about that. Now I'll talk about it because in the past I'm not in shape anymore. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I could beat up your average person anymore. I'd be like, here's a fight. Oh, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to tell people that I'm going to be a journalist. I'm going to tell people that there was a fight over here. You have a good one. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my back. Oh, my back. I'm not trying to get into a fight with anybody. You know what I'm saying? But back in the day, somebody comes up and, like, you know, throws a punch in my face. I'm not going to stop with one punch. So when they turn around and say, all I did was punch him one time and he beat me, like, I lost count at 64 times. Mother fathead, I can assure you, I was in the triple digits. I was punching you until I got tired. And that's just simply the way it works. You don't go and start throwing punches at people and then crying because somebody starts throwing punches back at you. That's not the way the world works. That's not the universal karmic flow of the universe. Sorry! So, yeah, like I said, we reap what we sow, dude. So, my opinion on that, he walked right into that. If he knew he was going to write comic books, dude, I love certain artists and certain writers and things like that. I'm going to tell you something. I reached out privately to Dennis Hopeless 2 days ago to try and get him to do a quick interview or at least give me a private video commentary on his Spider-Woman run. I just put out Spotlight on Story Mother's Day special for the Jessica Drew Spider-Woman when she had her baby. It was an amazing issue. I loved it so much. And I was really hoping that he was going to give me a quick little 5-minute interview where he talks about what he was thinking there, what Javier... what do you call it? Just everybody who was involved in that. He did a lot of the coloring, but Rachel Rosenberg did some coloring for the final issues, and just like everybody who was involved in that, Alvaro, like everybody. It was an amazing run. I really loved that run, and I was really hoping he would give me a private conversation about that so I could attach it to the video. I thought that would be great for the fans, you know what I'm saying? And also get, more people to buy the book. I think he's going to make more money off that. I don't know. I don't actually know, but whatever. He completely ignored me. I saw that he saw my private message, and I was very disappointed to see that he completely ignored me. And I'm like, wow, that's really sad. That's really sad. Yeah, I could be triggered. Anybody can get triggered. I know people who have PTSD. They're triggered. Do you want to make fun of people who get triggered? Because triggering happens all the time. I know you're not actually attacking me. We're too cool for that. But no, like I know people like to use the word, oh, triggered! Military vets who have PTSD are triggered all the time. I remembered one time, this is a funny one. This is a really funny one. I remember this one time I was driving to DeVry. I went to DeVry when I was studying to be an electrical engineer. I was living in the Asbury Park area, and this was up in North Brunswick. It just moved from Woodbridge, so it was hard for me to remember to go from like Woodbridge to North Brunswick. Like, it was like, dude, crap, I'm going the wrong way. I'm acting like I'm going here. I need to be going there. Crap, I got on the wrong road. So I was late to school an awful lot of times. Whatever, it is what it is. Anyway, I was driving the one time right around the corner from where I live, and all of a sudden a car in front of me to the left backfires. We all use our memory the way that we use it. So while everybody else on the road, for the most part, heard a backfire, I didn't hear a backfire. I heard a gunshot. That's what it sounded like to me. It sounded like a gunshot, like a rifle gunshot from not too far away. So what did Professor Bill do? I ducked. I'm driving my car, and I ducked. I got down, I leaned to my right, and I got down. I was holding the steering wheel, and like, crap, like this. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. And I popped up a little bit, and I'm looking, and I see that I hear the car backfires 2 more times right in front of me as it's accelerating, and it goes. I'm like, ain't that something? Ha ha ha, and I laughed it off. I look over to my right, and the guy next to me is dying. He's laughing hysterically. And in my mind, and I just kind of like, I was triggered. I actually got triggered by hearing that muffler backfire. You guys can laugh too, I'm cool with it. But in my mind, the only thing I can think of as I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and smiling, like that, I'm thinking, you had such a wonderful, sheltered life that you didn't get, that you didn't feel that as something different. As though you didn't feel like your life was about to end because of that. Because people who were in the military know that all too goddamn well. But yeah, we all get triggered. Anyway, so, you know what, let's just look at some, anyway, I was really hoping, Dennis Hopeless is a great writer. He's an amazing writer. He's reluctant to engage in online interviews due to present toxicity. If that's the case, then I understand. I was just kind of hoping he'd say I'd rather not, but he just kind of ignored me instead. And I did take that a little bit personally, and I'm really sad that he didn't, but I'm not going to attack him. So last night when I actually did the Spotlight on Story, I simply mentioned I was hoping that he would have had a conversation with me. He didn't. Oh well, it is what it is. And I moved on. I'm not going to attack him personally. He didn't attack me personally. That's not what I'm all about. You know what I'm saying? It's totally cool. It's totally cool. It is what it is. But I was, in my heart, still right now, I'm so disappointed that he didn't even, say something to me. He just kind of let it go. And I did feel like I was less than nothing. And meanwhile, I said, and I forget what my wife said, what the word is that she used, but it's some kind of word that says that we're I think influencer was the word. It's like they do the work, and when do comic books ever actually get publicity? They don't. They don't. But through YouTube, they do. So channels like mine, channels like Comic Boom, channels like the Geek Fortune, channels like Joseph's Books, we do also Nerd Scum, who I haven't reached out to yet, but I'm hoping to talk to him and get him to have the conversations also. But we actually do publicize these things. Now, unfortunately, you have also people like Diversity in Comics who they might, here's the thing. If you wrote a comic book and you see that Diversity in Comics is going to talk about that comic book, right away your heart's going to sink. You're going to be terrified. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be terrified. So, because that's the level of toxicity that he has. Nobody would want him to be their food critic. Nobody would want them to be their secret shopper. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would want him to do that because, if he doesn't like you in any way, shape, or form, or he just feels, easy target, and I need to keep my audience entertained, that's gonna be messed up. I want you to think about Michelle Wolf. All right, she just did that comedy thing. She was totally punching up. But for the love of God, man, people just attacked her like crazy. She had some great material there, but she got attacked. That's what happens. Even me, I might wind up being attacked. There could be people who are looking at this right now who are going to turn around and be like, oh, Professor Bill, hey, Zach, Richard, look, this guy, Professor Bill, was talking bad about you. He might look at it as, yeah, he was talking bad and attack me. He might look at it as, F this guy. I'm not going to pay any more attention to him than Dennis Hopeless will. You know what I'm saying? He might also say, no, I actually understand what he's talking about, and actually he's giving a fair point. I don't know what he might say. But the idea is, I did not get into this lightly. I knew that there's a chance that I might get some serious clapback from him and his 40-plus thousand followers. And the 10,000 plus on Twitter. Because they're all different. It could happen. It is what it is, man. I got pretty thick skin. I think I'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? I could be wrong. Maybe I'll get triggered. But Sue Ann McInnes. I think I said your name right. McInnes. I think so. If not, I'm sorry. Welcome to the channel. And I really adored his storytelling with Spider-Woman. The dialogue and pacing was top-notch. It was great to see her anxiety and her love of being a hero. Yes. Her anxiety was great. Her the fear that something could happen to her kid, right, especially when those Skrulls attacked, was That was so intense. Like, I was like, I already read the comic book back when it came out 2 years ago. And meanwhile, I was reading it again this week, and I'm leaning forward in my seat like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I was so tense about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I knew it was going to happen. But yes, there was a level of intensity in there, which is so hard to pull off, but it was great. And again, the idea this was written by a guy, wow. Troublemaker Bricks, hello. Welcome to the channel. Do you review comics you collect, or just what comes out that week, or random comics? I review comics every week that actually come out. In fact, go and check out my This Week in Comics. It usually comes out around 8 o'clock p.m. on Tuesdays. I get Wednesday's comics the night before. So I will be at my local comic book store, Gotham Central Comics and Collectibles in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. I will be there, and I will talk about, this came out, and I will pick from some of these comics. I can't do them all. I will pick from some of these comics which ones I'm actually going to review, the ones that I think are going to get the biggest hits, and on Monday I do a bunch of indie comics, like the non-Marvel, non-DC comics, that I think should get some kind of acclaim. You know what I'm saying? I will do those. Then every Saturday, usually around 11 o'clock in the a.m., I'll put up a spotlight on story. Like today, I just did the Spider-Woman comic, the first 5 issues of the Spider-Woman comic, and the surrounding storyline that came out, for an older story. The week before, I did the origin of the first appearance of the Ghost, which was in early issues of Iron Man, back when he was in the Silver Centurion armor. I think that was issues number 219, 220, and 221. I'm going to be doing the Iron Wars pretty soon because I love that comic book. I'm going to be doing my, just had it out. Come back to me. Oh, there you are. Hello. My Jim Starling's Death of Captain Marvel. I'm going to be doing that. Marvel graphic novel issue number 1. I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. So the Spotlight and Story is something that I do every Saturday. So that's kind of like what Comic Storian does. He does this like 2 or 3 times a week. I will do mine once a week. You know what I'm saying? I just don't have the time to do all those. And then I'll also explain characters, a hero or a villain, every Tuesday and Saturday. And then I'll do a couple other reviews. And I need to actually do an intro video where I can say what I actually do and when the schedule is. I need to actually do that. So thank you for inadvertently pointing out my own misgivings. Mark Guerrero, hey, what's going on? I think this is the second time I'm seeing you. What do you think made Jamie Reyes and Miles Morales so successful compared to the other diverse heroes? They actually had a freaking story. I've never read, and I've talked with Comic Boom about this, I've never read America, America, can't remember her name, because I've never read her. The only time I've ever seen her was in the, what the heck is it called? The Ultimates 2. Comics, where she was barely in there. So I know almost nothing about her. But what I do know about her is the very first, the very final issue number 12, I think it was, of her comic, came out, and it was $3.99 or $2.99 or $3.99, whatever, on Comixology. But on the same day that came out, her volume 2 came out, which was issue 7 through 12. So that included the final issue, and I could buy that for just 99 cents. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy any of them. But that says everything I need to know about how people felt about her story. And also, I did see, I can't remember if it was Diversity in Comics or somebody else. I'm only saying his name because I've already said his name so much. But I saw somebody's review for America, and from what they described, I could agree with what they said, even though it was a very toxic video, and I don't like that. Like I said, I'm almost 43 years old. I don't need that kind of, negativity in my life. You know what I'm saying? If I don't like a comic book, I don't hate read a comic book. I stop reading the comic book. I stop reviewing the comic book. For me, it's the adult thing to do. He's got a very different agenda. I don't have that agenda. I have the agenda of simply reading comic books that I enjoy and dropping off the comic books I don't, and not trying to insult the creators of those comic books, because that's just not cool for me. Anyway, so from what this guy said and what I understand, there was no real story there. Kamala Khan is also probably the most successful. Moon Girl is apparently extremely successful also. Yeah, so as far as like diverse comics characters, and I guess Jane Foster Thor would have to be considered successful also. She's a minority character. She's a female. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, as long as there's an actual story there, and it sounds like there's a reason to be there. What I'm actually disappointed in, and one of the arguments I make back, is I know that people like to say, oh, well, you're going to have these new diverse characters, whatever, who are going to be taking over for people's names. The thing is, that actually helps them a lot. I know that there's people who are going to make... The squeaky wheel always gets the oil, right? There's a lot of people who are going to, clap back and say, oh, these diverse characters taking my hero's name and replacing my heroes with these other characters I don't even know and I don't care about, and they don't have a hero's journey or anything like that. Let me tell you about this character named Mosaic. If you don't know who Mosaic is, Mosaic, explained in a minute on Comic Book University. I explained Mosaic. And I got a lot of love from the creators of Mosaic. I thought he was a very, very amazing character. He had very unique powers, and nobody's ever used that name before. Not really. The closest I've ever gotten was Green Lantern Mosaic, when Jon Stewart had his own title, which was hit or miss. But I did get a really cool ring from that from my comic book store. Just saying. But what do you call it? They have this character called Mosaic. Only went to I think 8 issues. And he played a major role in in X-Men versus Inhumans. It was great. It was great, but he just didn't get the attention because he didn't have If he would have said, "Oh, I'm the new Hawkeye," or no, there's already a new Hawkeye. I'm the new so and so. You know what I'm saying? That would have been something. It would have brought attention to him. It's like, who's this new guy taking over this role? But instead, he just came out and said, "Yeah, I'm Mosaic." He didn't get enough love, and it's a shame because it was an amazing comic book. It was amazing. I loved the character. I'm so tremendously disappointed this character didn't get more love. But nobody cared. You know what I'm saying? So taking that other name is a huge boost. And remember, as far as complaints are concerned, people who don't like a comic book are 10 times more likely to complain about it. But somebody who likes something, there's only a 3 in 10 chance that they're going to say something. You know what I'm saying? So, think about that. You know what I'm saying? Think about that. There were way more people who liked the comic books, or who liked the diverse characters and all that, than not. So, that's, to me, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. The thing is, you're going to respond to the people who make the most noise, because they're going to wind up generating the most, followers, and they're all going to rally and whatnot. Who's going to have a rally to say, no, we like Riri Williams. I like Riri Williams. You know what I'm saying? But nobody cares. Sean liked Mosaic. Yeah, awesome. Prowler is awesome also. Prowler is awesome. Storm is awesome. True Fan Forum, what's up? Oh, also just Akuma Ranger. Yeah, welcome to the channel, brother. I don't remember seeing if you're a guy, brother, sister, if you're a girl. I don't know, sorry. Anyway, yeah, Comics Boom loves Jane Foster. True Fan Forum. One of my biggest problems with diversity in comics. Oh, I don't know if I want to read this, but it's there anyway. Reviews seem sloppy and poorly done. Like all he does is skim through them and doesn't pay attention to the inserts. And inserts his own ideologies. See, I'm actually okay with that. Plus, also, he's smart. He knows that if he just starts thumbing all the way through a comic book, that's actually illegal. You can't just keep thumbing through. You have to skip pages once in a while, or go backwards or whatever. You can't just go from one to the other. Otherwise, you're actually giving away the material. That's the way it's looked at, and legally, that could get you in a lot of trouble. So he knows that. That's smart. That he doesn't go and get himself into trouble that way, at least. He doesn't get himself into trouble legally. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of times he's gotten his channel shut down, but he's always gotten it back up again. The guy's not stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's some things. I actually learned from a lot of Jewish people. I'm not Jewish myself, but I learned from a lot of deeply religious Jewish people who said, listen, if you hate something about a person, that's one thing, but don't hate everything about a person. They may have some really important good qualities that you can learn from. And I agree. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate diversity in comics. I recognize the toxicity that he brings to the industry. But as far as his own style, it's hard to deny that the guy knows what he's doing, because there are people who just jump on there and they love his conversations. They love, how many... He gets more views in an hour than I get, period, for the vast majority of my videos. That says something. So, if you like my videos, dude, I love you too, man. You're awesome. Thank you so much. But, apparently somebody likes his style. You know what I'm saying? 40,000 plus people. Yeah, everybody's got their own style. Can I see your comments? Go Skittle, yes I can. They're just going really fast right now, I'm sorry. Joseph's book, it's better to have a positive outlook on something, yes, and give constructive feedback than to crap all over someone's hard work. See, that is so crucial, and that's about the most adult conversation in the room right now, myself included. When you think about it, if somebody comes up to you and says, oh, dude, you're a jackass, and like the way you manage people is like you go up to your boss and say, you're a jackass, and the way you manage people, you're an idiot, and blah, 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 blah. Nice working with you, dude. You know what I'm saying? But if you go up and say, listen, like, thank you for everything that you do for us and everything, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes when you yell at us, I'm just saying, I feel like you could get a lot of us to do a lot more for you if you talk to us in private as opposed to embarrass us in front of each other. Because all we're ever going to do, myself included, we're just going to talk about you behind your back. And nobody's going to really be that embarrassed. But it is annoying when you like curse us out in front of each other. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if a guy wants to be upset, if somebody wants to be upset over that, they're just an a-hole. You know what I'm saying? But they might, there's a way better chance of getting that person to say, all right, you know what? I appreciate you coming to me and telling me that, and I'll take it under advisement, and I'll see what I can do. Thanks, man. Now get your butt back to work before I fire you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Let's see. Haven't been shouted at. You know what? I just haven't been paying attention to everything here. Sorry. Mark Guerrero, wonder if they will include a less racist version of Chop Chop in the Blackhawks. Oh, wow. That would be so. The Blackhawks. Wow. Yeah, Steven Spielberg potentially doing the Blackhawks. That would be something, dude. That would be something else. Truman, a lot of people don't know the difference between constructive criticism and just naming what you hate. No, exactly. And plus, like I said, DNC, dude was in the military. I don't know how long ago he was in the military. He really, but like if he had 8 years in the military, he might still be having a hard time adjusting to regular life where you can't just call somebody an a-hole and then they'll be like, oh, yeah, well, F you too, and you're still friends. This is the regular world where people do have feelings, and you could even call them feelings, whatever you're going to call them. People do get hurt, and if you don't know somebody and they're attacking you, it's like, dude, what? Say, expect whatever's going to come back to you and don't complain. That's the one thing that really makes me come down hard. Not even hard, just come down on somebody like DNC. All the things that he said, I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. He's saying what he wants to say. I think he's a jerk about it. He could talk better about it. But now when all of a sudden it's coming back on him and people are doing the exact same things to him, and he's like, oh, people are doing such and such. Brother, now you know what it feels like. You know what I'm saying? Now you know what it feels like. So, I don't know what to tell you, brother. Oh, yes, Sean Sadry, the segment. Let's see what we got with the segment really quick. You know about what is just as, Go Skittle, what is just as triggering as SJW Marvel channel's clickbait comic book news channel. Oh, yeah. Oh, and I think I know one of the ones you're talking about, and I will agree. I'm not a fan of anything that's clickbait. I hate it. I despise it. I hate being suckered into something by a title and it's not really what happens. It's like, dude, come on, man. Okay, so boom. Here we go. Okay, so oh my God, that's awesome. Issue number 4 of the Immortal Hulk variant. Look at that. This is issue 4 of Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk. First off, that's the Grey Hulk. That's also the new Fantastic Four for 2.5 issues. That's Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and the Grey Hulk. Oh my God, that is awesome. Sean, my Eye of Agamotto, you know me so well. Arthur Adams, bet I have to remember to get that variant cover. That is awesome. You know what? You started off on a really strong note. I don't think anything else you've got here is going to be worth it. But let's see. A Cable and Deadpool annual? Get out. There's going to be a Cable and Deadpool annual. Okay, that could be fun. Who's writing it? David F. Walker is writing this. Of course, Sean knows what I'm going to ask. He knows me. Justice League 5, cover of Legion of Doom. Yeah, dude. The new Legion of Doom is going to be awesome. In fact, oh my God! I am such a little kid. I've got the Legion of Doom right here, and I could do really cool things with my Legion of Doom. Look what I could do. Oh, what? Oh no. Okay, that's moving. Oh, there we go. There we go. And look, and the lights, they shine. You see the lights shining? There are lights shining. Trust me, they're shining. Anyway, yeah, dude, I've got a Legion of Doom. Like it's for the little tiny little figures. I don't even care. You can make fun of me. I love the Legion of Doom. They were amazing. Were they actually in Challenges of Super Friends or just those other comics covers? Justice League number 4. This could be interesting. One of the Jokers against the Justice League. I'm looking forward to that. I'll get to the comments in a second, guys. I see them coming in. Oh, the new Punisher issue number 1. This is going to be cool. I think Matthew Rosenberg is still writing Punisher. This reboot for this renumbering is actually going to be a continuation of his current run, which is he just lost the War Machine armor, but he's still going after criminals, like big league criminals. So he's going to be the serious underdog there. What is this weapon? Oh, they're really pushing this. The Weapon H number 6 variant. Do you guys remember when Wolverine cut the Thing's face and he had to wear that mask over his face back in the 90s? That was awesome. It didn't have the biggest hit ever. Oh, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 3. We've got the not Freedom Force. What the heck were they called? Four Freedoms? No, it's Four Freedoms Plaza. What the heck were they called? Somebody in the comments, please. What were the white costumes called for the? This was part of Hickman's run. Can't remember. What is this? What is this? Oreos have gone too far. This is kettle. Okay, fine. My Eye of Agamotto has seen fit that this is important. Kettle corn Oreos. Future Foundation, thank you very much. Akuma Ranger and Go Skittle and Joe Fisher and Sean Sedrai. All you guys. And anybody else is going to jump on afterwards. Everybody's just like, Bill, you suck! And just attacking. And yeah. Let's see. Oh, somebody... Sorry, you know what? I'll look at all that stuff later. So anyway... Okay, let's look at some of the stuff here. Let's try and finish this up because more than an hour and a half. Wow, I'm surprised there's still people here. I almost left. Okay, start with Joe Fisher. I finally found an OK Havoc picture of him using his powers. It's from early Uncanny Avengers Volume 1 days. That's actually where he had the thing happen to his, the left side of his face. Yeah, that was messed up. Clickbait is crazy nowadays. Yeah, exactly. You know what? Like, I see the worst things on YouTube, and I know this is one of the main reasons why my channel doesn't explode. First off, I have seen people sharing my videos, just randomly browsing around different Facebook comic book pages and other things seemingly like comic books, just superhero pages or whatever, and I see my videos being shared once in a while. I don't know what your individual names are. Like, I know your YouTube names. I don't know what your Facebook names are. But everybody who has been sharing my videos, I cannot express the amount of love that I feel for you guys right now. Like, just undying gratitude. Thank you so much. Because honestly, that's the biggest way that my stuff is actually being shared at this point. Is getting around at this point. Because, again, I don't use clickbait. You know what I'm saying? I say exactly what you're going to see in the title and in the description. I don't falsely advertise anything, and I don't use like SJW in my titles or in my description box or in my what the heck is it called on the bottom? I can't see it here. My tags section. I don't use SJW or anything. So literally, people who are looking for something specific, if they decide to go to like the second page or something and they see my channel, maybe they'll check on it, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, yeah, like I don't use that stuff. So I know that my stuff is being shared, and that the reason why most of my stuff is getting out there and I'm getting new views and new subs is because you guys are sharing them. So like genuinely from my heart, thank you so much. I cannot express enough. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm over, I just reached 4,400 because I was at 4,399 right before this video went live. So I'm pretty sure I'm at 4,400 or more right now. I'm thinking about doing something for 5,000 subs. I'm thinking about doing something for 4,000 subs. I actually just bought something that will go out. If I could take the price off really quick, because I don't want anybody to feel whatever. That actually came off surprisingly easy. I actually found this today, and it was discounted. and I'm thinking for anybody who's in Canada and maybe the US, I'll have to see what the shipping is, but like I could try and give, so I'm going to try and give like regional kind of prizes, so like certain regions of the world will get this, that, or the other thing. So like maybe I'll try and do a gift card for people who just like, I can't mail you something, like I don't have the money to mail something to Australia. Sorry, Raven, and everybody else who's in like overseas like that. I just don't have the money to do stuff like that. I know that the shipping would be astronomical, for something so small and so light. But things like like that for fairly local people. I want to try and give things, away, because like I really am appreciative that after almost 2 years now, this August will actually be 2 years I've been doing this channel. You know what I'm saying? And I remember the day that I went over 300. And then it was just a loop from that point on. It was like it kind of went a little bit crazy. And I know a lot of you guys have actually been with me that long. And I try to remember everybody who this is the reason why I like to do these live chats and just talk about whatever, and just I'll get personal, I'll get whatever, and talk with you guys, because I love being able to actually talk with you guys like this. I'm so informal in a lot of my videos, as informal as you can get, actually seeing my face, and my Italian hand movements, you know what I'm saying? But I love being able to actually talk with you guys, and I know that Saturday is one of the only days when literally it's like everything's on the table. So I literally try and do an Ask Me Anything kind of, style thing. So I love being able to get to know you guys like this. I love trying to talk to as many people. When I see notifications, I try to reply to as many people as I can find when I do my videos. But I have a lot of videos, and I do get a pretty substantial amount of comments. So I will try and talk to you that way, and try and get to know you better that way. I am not big enough right now that I'm just like whatever to people. It's like, oh, I got a sub, cool, I don't know who you are, whoever, you know what I'm saying? No. I actually want to get to know you guys. I've met a lot of you guys. Just a free comic book day, 2 of you guys actually came up. One person actually from the States came up to see me, which is like, I'm floored. And another guy who's in Toronto, which is still like about a good hour away, 45 minutes away. That's freaking awesome. Like I actually took them out to well, one of them, the other guy I missed. He disappeared, which is, I guess he was afraid to hang out with me for too long. I don't know, but like the other guy, I actually took him out to lunch because I was just like, dude, thank you so much. If you're coming out to meet me or something like that, like that's a huge deal. For somebody like me, like that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like I know I'm nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I actually want you to feel like you actually had something. Like I know when you go for like a comic book signing or something like that, it's like, oh, who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like, or like, oh, this famous guy I go to see. I know when I met Jim Zub, I met Jason Fabik and Jim Zub, and they both took pictures with me, and that was cool. In fact, I have to give it to Jim Zub even more, because he actually invited me to come to TCAF today. I couldn't make it. There's just no way I could have made it. My wife was working all day today. We've only got the one vehicle. But also, like, he actually took a picture. He's like, hey, somebody get a picture of me and Professor Bell. I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, could somebody get a picture of me and Jim Zub also? You know what I'm saying? But, like, Jim Zub said that. I'm like, wow. Like, I couldn't. When you go up to meet somebody to get a signature, the most you can hope for is a signature. Sometimes we want to say, I know, I suffer from the same thing. You want to say something memorable that somebody's going to say, oh, wow. Oh, cool. Hey, I didn't know that. So maybe if you ever see them again, they'll be like, oh, you were the guy that... Not everybody can do that. You know what I'm saying? I do have a fairly decent memory, and I do love talking to you guys. So when I see you guys say something, if I'm engaging with you enough, I am able to remember who you are. I can be like, oh, hey, like when I saw this one guy, he always sees, I don't want to say anybody's names, especially if they're not in the chat. He always says this thing like, oh, dude, when you're talking about your Brave and the Bold with the Irish things and things like that, if you had the really deep Irish accent, they'll say things like, oh, Jesus, like that. And it's like, oh, it's so funny and blah, blah, blah. And I'd love to hear you say something like that. So when I actually saw him at Free Comic Book Day, I'm like, dude, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Okay, you got to say it. He's like, Jesus. I was like, that's the one. Holy cow. Okay, so that's how it actually supposed to sound. And like, it was a bonding moment, and I love being able to do that with you guys. Just whatever, man. Like, I'm no different from you guys. We are a university here. We are a university here. There are many wings of the university, and literally we all have a say, and I can learn from you guys, and I have just as much as you guys learn from me. It's a communal kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's like a huge deal with me. So let's see down here. What do you think is better, Luke Cage Season 1 or Black Lightning Season 1? Did not watch a single episode of Black Lightning yet, and that's sad because I love Tony Isabella. I love Tony Isabella. He's actually, the first comic book I ever bought with my own money was a Tony Isabella comic book. It was Shadow Wars of Hawkman issue number 1. Like my own money that I worked for, helping my father out with landscaping. He gave me some money. I had enough to buy a comic book at the local drugstore where we were living, and that I was between that and one issue of Secret Wars. I don't even remember which Secret Wars issue it was, and I was just like, that's Hawkman. I like Hawkman. I've never had a Hawkman comic book before, and I bought Hawkman. So, and that was written by him. So he will always have a special place in my heart. He created Black Lightning. I have Black Lightning Explained in a Minute. That was actually like one of my very early Explained in a Minute stories videos that I put up. But I think I'm going to watch the whole thing. I don't know if it's finished yet or not, but I have to try and watch the whole thing and then maybe make like a commentary on it in and of itself. Okay, here's all the Future Foundation comments. I'd love to meet you, Bill, but I'm 14. No worry, Ghost Skittle. Maybe, I don't know where you are. We love you. No. That no homo joke is hysterical. It gets me every single time. That's hysterical. Thank you, Bill. Screamed in wrestling chant form. Thank you, Bill. Nice. I'm a wrestling fan also. I'd love to meet. Yeah, you never know, dude. If we're ever in, like, if I'm ever, I don't know about a world tour, but if I'm ever driving someplace, I like to. Sometimes I fly, but I do prefer to actually drive because I love to actually be able to just walk into a local place to refill my gas or whatever, and just talk with random strange people. And I said the next time that I'm actually driving into Jersey, I'm going to announce next time I'm driving from Canada to Jersey, and anybody who's along the path, if it's not too far out the way, I'll try and visit you at your local comic book store at a certain time and have a quick conversation and a bro hug handshake and things like that. I would actually love to meet everybody in person. Seriously, I'm one of those people. Like you're talking about wrestling, I'm like Bailey. I'm a hugger. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely, I would love to meet every single person who follows me and everything. What do you call it? Suanne. I think we just get shy because we don't want to feel as if we're invading your space. I know I get that way. See, that's the thing. Yes, a lot of people will feel like their space is being invaded. Me personally, I don't feel that. I don't feel that. You know what I'm saying? If you're just some person off the street who I don't know at all, it's a whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if you know me from what do you call it? From if I'm sitting in the park with my kids and we're playing, and you're another parent or somebody, you just walk over and you want to start talking. Cool, man, let's start talking. You know what I'm saying? I was playing Pokemon Go when it first came to Canada, and somebody came up to me and said, "Excuse me, sir. I'm just wondering. I don't mean to be offensive, but like, what attracts you to Pokemon? You know, when it's usually just kids playing, right?" I was like, all right, first off, Junior, and I actually put my arm around him because I knew I was going to say something that could be construed as mean, plus he was high. It's Canada, let it go. I didn't want to actually be offended, but I wanted to say things that were funny. I was like, first off, Junior, this is season 1 of Pokemon, and this is my generation. I don't know who you are or where you came from, but you're infringing on my game. And there was actually a guy and a girl who were like, amen. I was like, see? Right over there. That's what I'm talking about. And we're all cracking jokes. Like, I love you, man. Seriously. Like, no. It's just, I actually get to catch Pokemon. I grew up looking at Pokemon, watching the Pokemon TV show, and I love it, blah, blah, blah. So I just wanted to, and I still have it on my phone, and I actually did stop off at a local Pokeball store, whatever it is, a Pokestop, and I did get like my one-stop Pokeball thing, just in case I want to catch something. I think they're up to season 3 right now. I only knew the season 1 guys. I don't know any of the Johto League stuff or any of that other stuff, but the Indigo Islands, I know the original one. That's what I knew. I don't know any of the other stuff. And I remember seeing the first movie. I went by myself in the movie theater. I cried like a little girl when I watched it, and any single time that I see somebody post it online, I watch it, and I cry like a little girl then also. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, oh my God, spoilers, when Ash dies, I'm like, oh, and you just see Pikachu, he's like, chill, I'm like, Pikachu, I want to give you a too, even though I'd be electrocuted. Like, yeah, I'm a total sissy like that. I'm a total teddy bear. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, I love actually talking to people. If you see me on the streets or something like that, just feel like, Professor Bill, they call me that in my comic book store, which I kind of love. And it's a little bit embarrassing, but I love it. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody just comes up and is like, Professor Bill? I'm like, hey! hey, what's your name? How do I know you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you comment as? I'm right away with the handshake and the hug, the bro hug and everything. Nope, I'm a very open person, so don't be afraid to come up and just, hey, what's up? Yeah, Sean Sadrai just turned 18. He just became legal. He's asking me for girlfriends. Who the heck is contacting me? Lewis from the Geek Fortress. Lewis, I'm live. Talk to me here. Anyway, he's probably saying that his video is up. So, what else we got here? Back up. Bang, bang, bang. Red Black Can, I'm 68. Are you? Cool. I don't know, one way or another. I wish I'd known you last year. My wife and I would have stopped by while passing through Canada. You never know, dude. I actually want to see, I know it's weird, but I actually want to take a cruise and see the Alaskan Aurora Borealis and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you never know. I might come and see you before you come and see me over in Anchorage. I would love to see all that. Trubin, hey, Professor, what's your opinion if Marvel relaunched the Marvel Knights and the Marvel Max run? Dude, I'm dead, I'm buried, and I'm burnt to cinders right now. Holy crap. And return these characters like Punisher, Jessica No, not Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones has to be done by Brian Michael Bendis, and it's not Humberto Ramirez. Crap, who did it with him? Not Serge Akuda. Oh, why can't I remember? Somebody throw it in there. But you know what I'm talking about. It's got to be the original team, just like the last one. If Jessica Jones is coming back, she's the whole reason why the Marvel Max thing is what it is. The Punisher actually became like larger than life itself, but Jessica Jones was like the first big one. So yeah. Also, Fool Killer was the best ever in Marvel Max. No, dude, if they brought back Marvel Knights and Marvel Max, I've been saying for the longest time, they need to do that. They need to label what their genre is for not just comic books. No, what age group are they looking to sell these comic books to? I would flip. If they did Marvel Max for, like, adults, or for, like, young adults to higher, and then did, the Max for adults, like explicit, you know what I'm saying, careful. Like Cage for Marvel Max was so, like, is he actually bulletproof? That was amazing, the way that was written. But, like, everything on there, dude. Everything. Yes, and more yes, please. I don't even need to read the rest of what you're saying. But, and maybe Daredevil, I miss Matt. Yes, I miss them all. That would be amazing, dude. Free university, no commissions. Yes, Comic Book University is always tuition free. Black Lightning is on Netflix. Yes, I know. I gotta check that out. Still haven't completely paid my college. Yeah. College is freaking expensive, and student loans suck. Go Bernie Sanders in that regard. But honestly, I think I'd rather go for Jill Stein, but I don't think she has a chance of winning. Anyway, let's see. What else is out here? I've got this Blade Max run. I have not read Blade Max. Oh my god, I gotta read that. Joseph Books, you should do a review for that, dude. The Fool Killer, I had a friend in school, I called him that. Nice. Oh, you're in Anchorage. What did I say? Thought I said Anchorage. Anyway, haha, it's Canada, represent. Next time I go to Gotham, you deserve a candy of your choice if I ever get back there. Wait. Oh, Sue-Ann, you're in... Oh, cool. Yeah, Gotham Central Comics and Collectibles. Yeah, swing by. Yeah, they still got the candy dish with the Venom candy dish holding out the... Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, swing by. P.A. Stewart. Wow, another person of female persuasion here. Yes, P.A. Stewart. I'm very happy to actually get a lot more women showing up and saying things because, yeah. Anyway, okay, so it looks like that's about it. If you guys are still here, that's cool, but I think I'm going to leave because, like 2 hours, man. This is officially the longest one I've ever had. Anyway, you guys are freaking awesome. You made it. I'm so sorry. I know there's so many comments up there that I didn't get to. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, I'm not joking, I'm actually going to go through and look at all those. I won't be able to respond to them. But I'm going to cancel this, and then after it actually resets so that I can put the proper tags in this, I'm going to go back and look at all of that stuff, so I will be one of the views in there. And then, yeah, again, guys, If I didn't get to your thing, though, if you want to comment below and you need an answer for something, please comment below. I know I went on a big thing about like diversity in comics at this point in here. Somebody did ask me about that, and I looked it up, and I do have a fairly strong opinion on that. It's not one way or the other. It's just it is what it is. But thank you, Ghost Skittle. Anyway, seriously, really good talking to you guys. Genuinely love you all. Don't be afraid to come up and give a bro hug. All right, that's it for me. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. I kind of want to go out with Bailey's song. There ain't no stopping us now. We celebrate on the floor. Anyways, class dismissed.